here's the beautiful part about Ho'oponopono, and let me just share it. A lot of you already know it because it's a very, very, very popular modality. And when I got it, I was fascinated. I said, what is happening here that by just saying these four things, something is shifting? So I went in to do the deep research and kind of like became a scientist going into myself. Like, okay, when I'm saying I'm sorry, what's happening? When I'm saying, please forgive me, what's happening? I thank you, I love you. What is going on in my head? What is physically happening to me that is changing my vibrations towards this person? What is happening to that person as a, byproduct of what I'm doing? And, I did so much of that introspection. And of course, it was COVID in 2020. And we also taught this every Saturday for a whole year for free to everyone who was willing to receive it. And that whole year shifted everything for me. Right. And then I started, because I'm extremely introspective and I can make the connections. So I could see that from the time I started chanting, not only were my relationships healing, my finances, the kind of business I was getting, I started getting clients from all over the world. Right. And I realized there was something very profound and at a deep level shifting. Now, what it was, would you like to know?
Can't wait.
Everybody want to know what it is that actually shifts inside you? Okay, awesome. So what really happens here is that the core essence, and this is the essence of Ho'oponopono, which if you just simply understand it and then say the phrases, it will start also working for you in a much more profound way. It already works for anyone. Even if a 3-year-old baby or a 5-year-old chants it, it works, right? You don't need skill. You don't need to be psychic, or you don't need to be a very gifted healer for this. It's the magic of the method, the modality, the statements in itself are so powerful. But if you combine that with the essence, right? It's like one is if you're copying the answer from your partner in an exam, and one is if you understand it, you can do it anytime in life. So this is the essence, right? At the core of Ho'oponopono is a willingness to take responsibility, right? And when I say take responsibility, it's not saying that it was your fault. It's just saying that I am able to respond to it differently now. I can see that there is a problem and nobody else is, being able to fix it or change it or shift it. But I have this tool that I'm empowered with. I'm going to use it because I'm able to respond to it. I want to change it. So the first thing you're doing is taking responsibility. The second thing you're doing is recognizing that you and I are one. Right? There is, in fact, a beautiful quote. So take responsibility for the world you see because it is a reflection of you.
Wow.
Right? Take responsibility for the world that you see around you, right? The people you live with, the society, your boss, your colleagues, the government. Everything around you is a reflection of you. And we are all one. So one of the two of the other most beautiful things that Ho'oponopono taught me was the power of love, right? When you're functioning from love and when you're recognizing that we are one. And when you recognize we are one, so if I change it in me, I change it in you. If I want to change it in you, I just have to change it in me, right? And I remember there was this other I would say it was embarrassing when I did it. There was a lady who, her boyfriend and I were very close friends. We live in different continents. We've only met once, but because we share he's also a healer, I'm also a healer. We share the work, and obviously, so we discuss cases, and our bond is really strong because spiritually we share a lot of work and reach out to each other. And she would be extremely jealous. Why are you talking to her so much? And what do you want with her? And she's the reason we can't be close, and like just stuff going on. And I used to every time look at her and laugh, like, what? Like so immature and she's so insecure and all, right? And later I came to know that she had been doing sessions, mere naam ka, sessions that, oh God, she triggers me so much for 2 years. Okay, so she would go to her therapist and say, I want to work on Janki, like she's a pain in my ass. And then what happened is there was a workshop I had on relationships and they were struggling with relationship issues. So I said, okay, you know what? I would like to invite both of you to come and learn something. She said, Janki is stupid. I would never want to learn from her. Why would anyone want to learn from her? She's a fraud and this and that. And I said, okay, this requires me to do some massive clearing in myself, right? So I started doing Ho'oponopono for myself. And I just said, okay, whatever it is in me that is triggering her, Whatever it is in me that is creating so much anger, animosity, resentment, if it's in her and with respect to me directly, obviously there must be something I've done. Maybe not in this lifetime, maybe some lifetime, I don't care. But it is a reflection of me. So I take responsibility. And I think for 2 minutes, I chanted for 2 minutes. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That evening, she came for my call. She had to leave half an hour early. So she messaged, I'm loving it. I'm going to, watch the recording. From the next day, we became best friends. Okay. And then they both broke up and we were best friends. And that's when I realized, what if I was the problem all along? What if she was the one who had been clearing? And what if I was the one unknowingly holding on or keeping the door shut? And the minute I did Ho'oponopono just for 2 minutes, so it's not about how many times you say it. It's not about how long. Like some people ask me, Janki, should we chant 108 times, 50 times? And I'm like, how many times do you want to chant it? Okay, that many times, right? Because it's about you feeling like I've done enough. And for me, being how lazy I am, I said, I will chant it once or for 2 minutes and the work has to be done. And it was. And that day I realized that sometimes unknowingly, we are the problem. Not to blame ourselves, but just maybe they've all cleared their side of the equation and I'm the only one remaining here. And maybe just by me saying this for 2 minutes is all it takes to shift everything. So that was one of the most interesting stories and personal experiences I had with Ho'oponopono. Apart from this, a lot of clients have seen shifts with, somebody got their money back. I remember a lady during COVID was so worked up because, during COVID, everybody was facing like, jobs were at stake. People were getting, dismissed from their roles, money problems. And she said, Janki, since I started doing Ho'oponopono, money, she had joined the class for a week. She said, money that was stuck since 8 to 10 months, right? She said, I got it back randomly without even following up. They deposited it in my account and said, sorry for the delay, and here goes your money. Somebody else who said, I need a laptop for my son. Schools had gone online, if you remember, in COVID. She only had a phone and she said, my son is like really straining to see what is written on the little screen. And she said, I chanted Ho'oponopono saying, I don't have the money for a laptop, but universe, I'm willing to receive. And somebody in her family, her in-laws or somebody in the extended family gifted her a laptop saying, we know your son would love to have one right now. School has started. And they gifted her a laptop. So many relationships, just the way I transformed mine, have transformed. And at the core was just somebody willing to recognize that I can do something about it without blaming, without making somebody else wrong, just willing to take responsibility and say, with compassion, I will chant with no agenda. I don't know how this will work. I don't know what it will create, but I'm willing to chant and see what shows up. And then, boom, there are miracles.